Okay, so you've been doing this kind of training for a while.
Yeah, I started studying human violence and teaching self-protection in 2002.
So what's changed since 2002 in the way you're teaching it?
So we kind of have a unique approach to it. Basically, the reason we developed our company was we saw what was out there and we didn't like it. So we came up with our own methods that we think are vastly superior. Basically, we look for kind of the best options.
Okay, I'm shopping in a grocery store. Let's say my wife and I are shopping at a grocery store. All of a sudden, a person or two come in armed, wanting to do me harm. What should I do?
So if you're looking at like an active shooter type of event, we kind of boil it down to two options you have. One is you have to make the decision of,
Hold on a second. I'm going to turn in this way a little bit. Yeah, that's better. Okay, good.
All right.
Because now you're kind of starting. Well, I'm shopping in a grocery store. What should I do if a bad guy comes in?
So if it's like an active shooter type of event, if that's what you're talking about, you have one decision you need to make, and that is the shooter in your immediate area? If you answer yes to that, your only option that's going to give you the best chance of survival is charging at them and attacking them, making their ability to harm you ineffective. If they're not in your immediate area, you want to get to a place that's going to make it least likely for you to be found, but it's going to put you in a good position to fight for your life if you have to. So that one is seek a safe area. Once you're in that safe area, you want to get as close to the entryway as possible so that when he comes in, you don't have a lot of distance between you and him, because distance benefits an assailant. If somebody's armed and you're not, you don't want to be 15, 20, 30 feet away from them. You want to be right next to them so that you can affect which way that weapon's pointed. Make sure that you're making sure it's not pointed at you or anybody else you care about. And then basically we tell people you want to attack the head and face with blunt force trauma. That's where all five senses are housed, and that's where their ability to breathe comes from. So that's going to give you the best chance to change their mindset from hurt you to protect themselves.
And there's no fair fight when this happens, right? You do what you got to do.
No, yes. So yes, anything goes, but we'd rather have people use the most effective and efficient things. So that's what we teach. All the tactics we teach are based off biomechanics and physics. So it's going to give the person the best chance of survival regardless of their size, the bad guy's size, strength, etc.
Okay, so I'm at work. I'm sitting at my desk or in my office, and all of a sudden I hear something. What do you recommend then?
So same thing, it's a concept based. We apply it to any situation, whether you're at home, you're at work. Could be just like the Hamas concert where you're outside. If you're outside and you hear gunfire, we tell people you want to go inside somewhere, which is counter what the FBI says, a run, hide, fight, what they recommend of, if you're in a building, they say run outside, get away from the sound of gunfire. The problem with that is you don't know where the gunmen are. It's much easier for a gunman to do harm to you when you're out in the open. And any security features that your building has, whether it's locked doors, bulletproof glass, etc., all those features work when you're inside. As soon as you go out in the open, those features aren't going to help protect you at all. So if you're at work, same thing. If that gunman is in your immediate area, charge at them, attack them when you get to them. If they're not in your immediate area, if you're in your office, probably get right by the doorway. If they enter through that door, you're going to attack them.
So you're not a big fan of run, hide, fight?
No. It looks good on paper. Those are the three options. The problem is you never have all the information you need to know if you can run away safely. You're never going to know how many gunmen there are. You're never going to know the locations of those gunmen. You're not going to know if any escape routes have been compromised that we've seen like in Virginia Tech and the Binghamton American Civic Center. The hiding part usually puts you in restricted positions that if you are found, you're in a very poor position to attack the person. If you're under a desk or in a far corner, it's going to benefit the gunman. So really the only option is to fight. That's actually out of those three options. Fighting is the only thing that can actually stop the person. Running away and hiding does nothing to actually make them less dangerous. So yes, we're a big advocate for protecting your life and attacking that individual.
So it sounds to me like you're saying that you shouldn't be shy. If somebody comes in, you need to take action to protect yourself and your loved ones.
Absolutely. Under the letter of the law, you are justified to use deadly force against anybody that's using it against you or your loved ones, and we recommend using that. People think the term violence itself is negative. The term violence itself is not negative. Violence is just defined as any force that's likely to cause injury. So in this case, if somebody's trying to do it to you, you got to do it to them before, in order to protect yourself.
What are some things that people have in their homes or their offices that you say they could use as weapons to go attack a shooter?
So any hard object could be used as a bludgeoning type tool. We generally recommend smaller to a certain degree. For example, if I'd rather tell people to have a cell phone in their hand, especially like an iPhone or an Android. Those don't snap in half like the old flip phones. You put that in your hand, that leaves your other hand free because that's small and light enough. So if a threat does come in, you can use that free hand to direct the weapon away from you, or use another hand to smash them in the head repeatedly. Anything that's sharp and pointy, you know, whether it be a letter opener, pair of scissors, you can use those as an edge weapon. The difference is kind of with a blunt impact weapon, you're aiming anywhere for the head. Once you start going with edged weapons, you got to go more towards the neck area, because obviously, you know, it's trying to cut stuff. You're not going to be able to cut through somebody's skull as much as, you know, if you're hitting them in the neck. And basically, it's trying to, you know, sever the arteries, veins, and the airways to affect that person's ability to cause harm to you.
Don't be shy.
No, I mean, it's not going to be pretty, and a lot of places out there try to make it think that, oh, this is, you know, it's, you know, a pretty thing. No, it's not. It's complete going to be chaos. It's going to be complete violence. It's not going to be pretty, but it's the, you know, do you want it to be pretty and you don't live, or do you want it to be not be pretty and you live? That's kind of what it's boiled down to.
Bruce, you got anything you want to ask?
I guess you said with like a sharp object, do you go straight for the neck, or can you go for the eyes? Like, is there specific spots you should go for if you want?
So with an edged weapon, if the person is standing up, you're going to be better off with the neck. It's just going to give you the biggest target. You know, you try to target the eyes, they're very small targets, protected by, you know, if you miss the eye by, you know, a half inch or so, you're hitting the hard skull. Depending on what object you have, it might break the object. So you're better off, you know, the side of the neck area here. It's going to give you the most availability. And if you set up on the doorway appropriately enough, that bad guy should be sideways to you when he comes in, and that's going to open up the neck wide open for you.
And what about if when attackers usually come, I guess, I know in like movies and stuff, they look to both sides when they walk through a doorway. Is that typically going to happen where you are seen immediately when they come in? Or?
I wouldn't say immediately. So if you think about a concept, when somebody walks into a room, the last place they look are the corners. You walk in first and you check the corner second. So you're technically in the place where they find you last, which is where we want you to be. And then from there, you're going to have the best chance to affect them by attacking them perpendicularly. So if you're sideways, or if you're stacked by a doorway, basically facing the doorway, and that way the bad guy, when he comes in, he's sideways to you. Based on physics and biomechanics, you're going to be able to affect him the most, because when you drive him sideways or attack him from the side, a human is like a three-legged stool with only two legs when they're attacked from the side. They have a lot of stability forward and back based on the human anatomy. They don't side to side. So that's why we want to put you in the best possible position of facing forward towards them, because humans are designed to fight facing forward, and have him facing sideways, so he's not in the best possible position.
Anything you'd like to add?
So, I mean, our program, it is very unique. In January, we were approved by GST BOCES for state aid. So now any public school can get our training utilizing state funds. Since January, we've trained 9 school districts, plus the New Visions Academy. And for any businesses in Chemung, Schuyler, or Steuben County, the CSS Workforce New York offers a grant that covers our training up to 50%. So businesses, schools can get our training for a very, very reasonable rate.